Alright. Okay, welcome back to One Piece Anime Re-Review. Yeah, I haven't done one of these since April. Purely because I'm busy with other stuff, so I just didn't get a chance to get back to this. And the fact that pretty much in the way they released Naruto episodes and they pretty much almost caught up the whole entire series dubbed. So you probably would think, because this is basically reviewing the dub for One Piece, and basically the main one is reviewing the sub and other stuff. You're probably thinking, is there going to be a time where this series will be retired? Not currently, no. It's just that I do enjoy watching the dubs because I love hearing the English voices come out the mouths of characters I originally. Now, of course, like in the case of the Since Whole Cake, basically this has been the case where I've seen these before when they first aired. And in the case of these ones, these aired like roughly about 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was. So, we're basically still on Wano. Yep, we're still on Wano. Yep, on part 13. Yes, part 13 out of, get this, if you're really, really curious, out of 16. Yep, 16. So, in these episodes, for these four, we're discussing episodes 1037 to 1040. Now, what happens over the course of 4 episodes? Well, Zoro doesn't do pretty much anything except be basically bandaged out like a cross-shaped mummy, and there's basically a discussion of possibly using something to help him return to fighting. Chopper, of course, is briefly seen in his monster form, and then he goes back to his regular form, but he's a combination of a baby and an old man, and he's going to be like this for a little while. Excuse me. Also, his assistant basically is holding him because he's small. So, what else happens? Well, let's see. Luffy, of course, after the end of part 12, basically fell off Onigashima. He fell into the ocean, where he's later retrieved by the Heart Pirates, who resuscitate him, or at least in the process of it, because it's not done very much here. Don't worry, he will return to fighting, and there's a hint of something in episode 1040 that will happen later on in the story that, fun fact, actually crouched Crunchyroll for 2 hours when this episode aired. I am not kidding about that, it did, but the rest of the time, basically, we see this thing, Crunchyroll runs perfectly fine. So, let's see. Oh yeah, Nami, Otama, and Usopp are still running. They're basically now. By the way, Big Mom is still. She's fighting Captain Kidd. He's joined by Trafalgar Law, and this basically be their role for majority of the remaining of the arc is fighting her. Dogstone is fighting Jack. King, of course, is not here. I think he may have been. I don't remember if he was defeated yet. I don't remember he has. It's been a while. Maybe it's I've seen it. So then, of course, they are confronted by Uti in quite possibly her last appearance in a while, where she is actually defeated by Nami. We'll also find out Nami in her Climatat. Basically, Zeus has survived from being eaten by Hera. So a piece of Zeus went inside of the staff, and of course, basically just using lightning, and eventually they'd be Uti. And she is done. Yes, Uti is done. Completely done with this arc. She does not make a return again until the recent cover stories, where she's been held hostage along with her brother by one of Kaido's former lieutenants, who is still around in Wano, which I still think basically that in the main series that currently that Toei should adapt the cover stories. There are 3 really good cover stories they should be adapting. The Gang Bench, All My Family, the emotionally cursed. By the way, there's a brief mention of Mads which of course is a flashback to that in basically establishing the Mads arc. Like that is another arc basically, along with the Yamato one. I think these three arcs make excellent episodes as sort of basically, because I don't think Elbeth has had a lot of episodes that a lot of chapters released for it so far. Right now it's in the midst of a flashback right now. So I'm really hoping sometime soon we adapt these three cover stories, because these three are vital to the series. And plus they're really good. So then, of course, they capture one of the broadcast people, which then Otama basically sends a message out, which basically starts episode 1030 and repeated in 1039, 1040. Actually, more like 1039, where she sends messages out to the gifters. Please change sides, help out Big Bro Luffy and Momonosuke defeat Kaido. And it takes a bit, but then all the gifters change sides. Yes. The thousands of gifters, they all change sides. They all basically work with Otama now. And Queen's like, what the heck? Yeah, and the rest of the Beast Pirates are like, what in the world? Yeah, even they're questioning this too. So, one of the Topo Pirates, the one who's basically transformed into a Tyrannosaurus, his gifters turn against him. And it leaves Frankie to fight him, no problem. In the case of Sanji, he starts his fight with Queen. That will stretch off for a pretty good period of time. There's a brief cameo in these episodes by Robin and Brooke, where they're still with Black Maria. This will last for another little while. I say little while because basically what happens with Black Maria, I will discuss that because I asked this to Stephanie Young, Nika Robin's voice actress, and I'll basically discuss how she felt about what happened with Nika Robin in that particular fight. So, and then Who's Who explains, because it's revealed that he's a former government agent, formerly of CP9, where he was put in prison because Shanks stole the Gum Gum fruit from the world government. Why in the world he decided to do it? He's a pirate. What do you expect? And he hates Straw Hat because he ate the Gum Gum fruit. And then, of course, while he was in prison, while he's still fighting Jinbei, well, he reveals, when he was in prison, they mentioned someone called Nika, which I think it's the first time that name has been mentioned the whole series. We don't actually hear more about it until the very next story. We hear more about Nika. Yeah, or apparently it's like a savior of the slaves. And of course he constantly asks Jinbei, were you a slave? Nobody were slaves. And Jinbei's like, I'm not telling you crap, dude. So then he proceeds to, he gets angry and he proceeds to, he does get blooded a bit, but Who's Who gets bloodied more. He actually gets defeated. Yeah, he's beaten. He's done. So that means at this point, they pretty much have toppled three members of Topo Pirates. One is defected, that being X-Drake, who doesn't do much. As a matter of fact, once this arc wraps up, X-Drake does not do anything as of currently, because he was kind of he was kind of shoved aside by Oda, because there was nothing really left for him to do once this arc wrapped up. But yeah. Great 4 episodes, and I may be discussing more in the future, who knows, but that depends, okay? So yeah, that's pretty much a particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up, I'm going to basically try to go through one anime tonight, and then I'm also going to do anime stream discussing some new chapters of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, and then pretty much, probably tomorrow, I may start my new anime, which is basically one anime I've been interested for a little bit to discuss. There are 2 anime I have ready to go that I'm going to watch, and then once they're done, I'm sure what to do next. So I probably will be using this basically as watching this while reading some stuff before I start my next anime after these 2 particular ones. Okay? I'm trying to think, was anything else? Oh yeah, Queen tried to fire on Otama, Usopp, and Nami, but they get away thanks to Sanji. Also, the fact that Sanji finds out that he does ask Queen, were you part of that mad science school with his father? He's like, oh, you mean Mads? Yes. And we do not get much development on Mads this arc. I think it's referenced a few times, but it's not really filled up into the cover story. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, notifications. Next up, the rising of the shoot hero. Okay, next video. Bye.